it was easier for me as a mom to plan than it is to be present. And that was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
because planning feels like I have control of the situation. I can make this an
Yeah.
amazing day. And now, again, like we talk about, this is a pendulum of things. Planning a little bit really does generally help to make the experience
Yes.
better.
Yes. Yes.
Control through planning is a different animal. And that's what I'm
Beast.
talking about. It's not just planning some things. I'll always be a planner because I think it's great. It's the control I was seeking through the planning.
Yes.
And that helped me avoid being there. It helped me avoid connecting. It helped me, in fact, created the exact scenario I didn't want.
Yes. Hi, I'm Jen.
Hey, I'm Suzanne, and today we are talking about what happens when you stop trying to create the perfect experience with your kids.
Oh.
So, I don't know about you, but when it used to come to like a vacation or an experience, like let's say you had a day with the kids, I would be like, okay, how do I kind of curate this to be like the perfect experience for everyone? Like, I just want it to be a great day and I want to be in control to make sure that everything happens in the best way possible and that my whole family has an amazing experience.
So, what do you mean by that? Like, you can say that, but like, what were things you would do? Because I feel
So,
like every mom's like, yeah, of course. Because I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that?
yeah. So, okay. So, for example, if someone would say, like, hey, mom, we're going to do a family thing on Saturday, I would go
Okay.
on the internet and be like, okay, here's 3 things that are available. These are things that I think
Hmm.
would work. And I would prepare for it. I'd tell the kids, like, hey, this is what we're doing, and kind of like prep everyone for what it was going to look like. And if
Okay.
they didn't act, and like when we were there, like, hey, you need to act a certain way. Like if we're going to go to Disneyland, like everyone needs to be having a good time and we cannot be arguing. And
Oh,
we
okay.
need to take all the great pictures and make sure we get great pictures of everything to really memorialize what an amazing time we had, because we are going to
Okay.
have an amazing time, damn it.
Okay. 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 I
So
was
there was
just
a
because
lot
I
of,
feel like that first statement is like, well, yeah, duh. Like, we want to have fun. We're going to do a little planning. Like, we're moms.
yes, no, this
But
was
that's
all
not what
about
this is about.
control.
Control.
Trying to control
Yes.
the outcome, trying to
Hmm.
control everything around it. And anyone that our friends that have
Yeah.
been listening for a while might know that this is something that I've really had to work on with time. And
We may have
so,
another episode coming up on this as well.
yeah.
A
And
little
there's a
deep
term.
dive into the art of control.
Yes. Yes. And I think the term I kind of came up with in talking with like the sparked moms and some of my clients was
Mhm.
joy pressure. Like I'd put so much
Yes.
pressure on
Oh, I
ourselves to
love
have
that.
joy. It like ruins
Yes.
the experience because you're so
Yeah.
worried about trying to make the experience great and make sure that everyone's complying and having
Yeah.
fun. It's like forced fun, right? And
Totally.
it doesn't
It's
work.
forced fun because you, the
Yes.
mom,
Yes.
or you, Suzanne, has this expectation of what it should look like based on some
Yes.
sort of comparing, I'm guessing, or
Yes.
some sort of idealistic commercial you've seen about going to Disneyland or whatever,
Yes.
right? Like there's the ears and there's the pictures and there's the castle and everybody's eating their favorite things and that's just going to be this amazing thing and you start to create this whole alternate reality
Yeah.
and then everybody has to rise to it.
Yeah,
Yes?
and it puts so much pressure on everyone, right? Like, oh, and all my kids are going to stand in line and they're going to be stand there so nicely and they're going to do this and that.
Yes.
And then they don't. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't working and this is frustrating. And why aren't you doing this? And now you're mad at your kids. And I'm like, whoa, again, pulling back the reins and
So, would you
saying,
say you put that pressure on yourself, or do you feel like it puts like the kids and your husband have the same pressure?
I feel like I start it and then it like radiates off of me. And
They
then
set the
they all
tempo.
start, yes. And then I feel like they
Yes.
are
Okay.
start to feel like dysregulated and then
Okay.
they get frustrated with me. And then it's
Okay.
like, I've created the effect. Just like you can create a happiness effect, I feel like you can
For
create
sure.
a dysregulation effect.
For sure.
What's so crazy about it, it's so counterintuitive to what you actually want, which is to have joy and be present and do those things. And I think what I
Yes.
realized is that it was easier for me as a mom to plan than it is to be present.
Say that again.
It was easier for me to plan than to be present with my family.
Yep.
And that was
Mhm.
like,
Uh, yeah.
because planning feels like I have control of the situation. I can make this an
Yeah.
amazing day. And now, again, like we talk about, this is a pendulum of things. Planning a little bit really does generally help to make the experience
Yes.
better.
Yes. Yes.
Control through planning is a different animal. And that's what I'm
Beast.
talking about. It's not
Yes.
just planning some things. I'll always be a planner because I think it's great. It's the control I was
Yeah.
seeking through the planning.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
helped me avoid being there. It helped me avoid connecting. It helped me, in fact, created the exact scenario I didn't want.
Yes.
So,
And then you're confused because you're like, this isn't what I wanted. It was supposed to
yes,
be like this, and now it's this like imploding disaster.
yes. And I mean, who goes to a day of Disneyland and doesn't argue at some point with their family? Like, we all
Get
laugh. You
hot.
hear everyone talking about it. The lines are long, or like, you don't want that kind of food, or this person wants to go on this ride, or like, it's so normal. Or the kids just like burnt out for the day, or they're having teenage attitude, like, or I'm being a brat, or my husband's being a
Yeah.
brat, like all the
Totally.
things. And so, taking that experience, my older son and husband went on a fishing trip in Mexico this
Mhm.
last week. And my younger son, who's not interested in fishing yet, or maybe never, and I were
Mhm.
home. And so normally my instinct was, okay, well, we're going to, because I wanted to make it special for him, like, hey, we're going to plan
For sure.
this and we're going to take all the
Best week
control.
ever.
Yes, right? Like the
Set
fantasy
the
of like,
expectation.
yes, this
Yes.
is going to be amazing. And we're just going to tell everyone and it's going to look good for everyone, right? Seeking approval from the everyone that somehow, and as I say in quotes, is out there that I don't know. And this version of me, the 2.0, is like, breathe. And I'm trying to cultivate a relationship with my son that's about him and I having a good relationship. Like, it's
Yeah.
not about going to these events or doing these things. It's about cultivating a relationship. So my hope is when he goes off to college and beyond, he actually wants to come home
Spend
because
time with you.
he likes me and we
Yeah.
we have things in common and we've built a
Yes.
relationship. And that is
Yes.
very different from making sure the experience itself met up to the
Yes.
fantasy. And so with that in mind, I said to him, like, let's make a bucket list. What are some ideas? And he had some ideas and I had some ideas, and some of his I was like, and some of mine he was like, but I was like, let's just put them all down. And
Yeah.
then
I
we
love
have
it.
something to draw on each day. And so as we were just about to start making the list, he was like, I'd love to see, we were like, what I just put into like what's available this weekend, like what events are happening this weekend.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, one of his favorite European soccer teams, PSG, who's from Paris, happened to be playing in
Mhm.
Pasadena, which is like an hour
Mhm.
and a half from us. And he was like, is there any way we could go? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. I mean, it's last minute. It's 9 a.m. The game starts at 12 a.m. Parking's going to be a nightmare. Like all my logistical
Sure. All the
planning stuff
things.
starts
Yeah.
coming through my head.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Like, why not? Let's do it. And so I go online. The first ticket I see is like $3,000. And I'm like, oh, well,
Might not
maybe,
be in our
maybe,
wheelhouse.
maybe it's not going to work. And I'm telling you, Jen, 2 seconds later, up pops 2 tickets for like $100 in the
Done.
middle of the stadium, 30 rows up. And I was like, okay, hello, universe. Like, this is so meant to be. So I'm like, let's go, buddy. So we jumped in the shower. We go up there. It ends up being like, because there's no close place to park in Pasadena if anyone's ever been there. So there's shuttles and all their sorts of stuff. We had the best time. We cracked up. We got lost like 2 times trying to get back to and from the stadium because we decided to walk instead of wait for the shuttle. We ended up walking like almost 4.5 miles by the time we were everywhere. And it was amazing. Not only did he get to see such a great team, We had this beautiful memory between us. He was so excited. And then we continued on the week doing some things that were, hey, here's this favorite series I wanted you to watch. Or,
Hmm.
we started a puzzle together. I was like, hey, I really want you to learn pickleball. Like, I've been wanting him to learn for years, and he just was like not into it. And he was like, you know what, mom? Because I was being more open to him, he was
Sure.
all of a sudden being more open to me. So we go and play pickleball. He loves it. This week, he's like, Mom, I'd love to do a camp on pickleball. I'm like, oh
There you
my gosh.
go.
So, in any event, the point I think of the story was if I were going through the DSE process, right? So, like, I
Hmm.
discovered that over planning was a substitute for being present with him. And once I did that, the shift was okay, well, how can I still plan? Because I think that's important, but also
Totally.
open this up to us being present and creating connection and things like that. And that empowered me to say, sure, last minute soccer match in Pasadena, let's do it. It just created like we have so many fun memories now of like laughing in the car. We played trivia because we were in the car a bunch and we would make up
Hmm.
questions. And it was so like the feeling I got and the joy that I have now in those moments and that connection. And then being able to tell my husband and our older son about what we did while they got to share about their great experience
Sure.
was amazing.
I love that. I love it for so many reasons.
Yeah. And it's one of those. And I think just kind of wrapping it up is when we try to go to every detail and over plan, we forget to be
Hmm.
present. And that
Hmm.
doesn't allow for connection. And I think for me, like, it's not about the events that we were doing together.
Hmm.
Those are what allowed us to create the feelings of
Yes.
curiosity and joy and those things that when I was lost as a mom and felt like I hadn't found myself, it was those feelings I was trying to connect with again. And so to feel them and then to enjoy that not only with myself, but with my son was just really, really powerful.
Well, and I think without the expectation of what it should be like or what you should do, as you always say, shoulding on yourself, I think without that, then you can actually experience it and it can just be whatever it is. And for you guys, that's exactly what happened.
And there was times we argued and there was times like, so taking
Yes.
that Disneyland example, right? Like in this example, let's just go with the soccer game at first. Like there was some like, oh, hey, no, you were supposed to go this way. Some frustration, like, oh, because I'm directionally
Yeah.
impaired for anyone that doesn't, meaning like I'm so bad about directions, but sometimes I get it right enough that I'm like, no, no, this is the right way. And he's like, no, mom. So fortunately, my kids and my husband are all very directionally able. So, anyways, but we like argued about a few things. We got frustrated with a few things, but ultimately we had so much fun.
That's a
And I wasn't,
relationship.
yes, and I wasn't so focused on those things. I was able to let those go
Yes.
more easily and enjoy myself
Yes.
because I didn't have the fantasy about what this should
Hmm.
be.
Yes. And really, the fantasy comes from comparison, which you've talked about a lot,
Yes.
which is like what it should be, what it should look like.
Yes.
Is this extravagant enough? Is this big enough? Is this grandiose enough? Right? Did we show that we had enough fun instead of like, did we
Yes.
have fun? And the other thing I wanted to point out, because I think it's so great, and you just kind of glazed over it for parents, is your kids have to see that you like to do stuff too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's two things there by both of you doing your bucket list. Like, he saw, like, oh, mom likes to do things. Like, she's a person. Like you said, like, I'm not just a mom. Like, I'm a person. There's things I like to do. I have interests. I have hobbies. And sometimes the kids have no idea that we like to do these things because we're always so hyper focused on all of their needs. So I think he got to see, like, oh, I mean, I might not agree with all of the things mom wants to do, but okay, mom has stuff she wants to do. And then the second part is that he saw you doing things that you were kind of like, well, it might not be like my most favorite thing to do, but like, sure, if you want to do that, let's go do that. So then he was more willing to be like, oh, I can see that mom's doing things that maybe aren't her favorite, but it's something I want to do. And she's trying things that I want to do. So maybe I'm more willing to try things that mom wants to do. Right. And it's like, it's teaching so many things of like a back and forth, and that you guys are not just like mom and son, like you actually have like a relationship. And then he's also taking that to other relationships, right? Like with friends, where it's not always just like what I want to do or what
Yeah.
one person wants to do. Like, it's showing him that like this is how it should be,
Yeah. It's that ripple
which I think
effect.
Totally. And I think
Mhm.
that like you kind of glazed over that because obviously the focus here is, us over planning moms so we don't have to be present and have like the perfect Pinterest life. But that was huge. And that's totally part of connection.
I totally agree, and I think that the reason I glaze over it is because I've made so much change. I didn't as soon as you were talking about that I glazed over it.
Yeah.
I've made so many
Yeah.
changes in my life, like, my kids now
Yeah.
know all the things I do and know my
Yes.
excitement, and so I guess I'm just gonna take a
Yes.
moment and be really proud of that because
Yeah.
when I started this process, they definitely did not know that I had any interest outside being their mom and taking care of them. That was it.
Yes. And you had a job as an attorney at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah,
That's what
that
they
was
knew.
it.
She's a lawyer. We
Yeah.
don't know what she does with it, but that's what she is.
Yeah, honestly, that was it, and so now
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit here and be so proud that, like, he was like, "Well, I know you like to do this and that you've been bugging me to play pickleball because you enjoy it." So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a moment and be really super proud of that.
And then one more thing I noticed is that you also showed him that like you can do things willy-nilly, like last minute. Like you can
Yes,
be impulsive if it makes sense. But everything doesn't need to be because I think especially with teens because they're in the comparison game of what their friends are doing. And I
sure.
noticed this a lot with my daughter is like she can see like where people go on vacation and what their clothes hauls are and which games are they going, which concerts are they going to, like they know literally every single thing. And I think there's so much comparison of everything like you were saying to be grandiose,
Yeah,
like it would have been like a soccer, a professional soccer game, like, and then a concert, and then and it's
yeah,
like, no, we just, that was a thing that was really important to us, and we did that, but we also learned pickleball, and we watched movies, and we went to one movie, and we watched a series, and we did puzzles. So it's like you still didn't curate this like extravagant week, and yet you had the most fun and connection and being present. And I don't know. I think that's also something to be said because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on parents to feel like they need to do those grandiose things because
yeah,
that's what their kids are seeing. So I also think it's good that like your son could see like, oh, we could do the big things and the small things or whatever, however you
yeah,
want to put it monetarily. But I had just as much fun at all the different things.
yeah, and he did,
And it was a great week.
it was
Yeah.
amazing, and he said it, I mean, to wrap it up, he said it at the end of the week. He was like, "Mom, I had the most fun week." And to hear him
Oh,
also telling his brother, like, I could hear
yeah.
them in the other room, and I
Uh-huh.
wasn't standing there, and they were talking about their little trips and how they both had such a great time, and to hear
Oh, I
him really
love
talk
that.
about, like, "Mom and I had so much fun, and we did this and this and this, and we laughed," and so, like, to hear that he was feeling that emotion was really, really
Yes.
powerful.
Oh, I love that. So, I guess the question for the listener today would be if you're looking back recently, is there a time where you definitely found yourself over planning and it didn't meet your expectations? And could you lean on that experience and what Suzanne talked about today for a future thing coming up and use that to try to get yourself to plan a little less and be a little more present and focus on different things this time? And that's it for today.
We hope you discovered something in my story.
See you next time. Same place, same sisterhood. Bye.
Bye.